welcome back to a new vlog. So today I thought I'd do a day in the life because today I've got quite an exciting day. I'm doing some bits and pieces with my horses at home, but I'm also going to see a friend near Hacking. So the first thing I do in the morning is I feed the horses, and on this particular day I thought I'd help the yard out, so I fed the whole top yard rather than just my two. I started off by feeding the boys, and I didn't really plan this, just kind of happened. So I got the boys all fed, and then I started on the girls, so I fed Candy. Then we're letting them petal. My next job was mucking out, so I decided to take Marley out of his stable and put him into the little pen at the top of our yard, just because he's easier to move around when he's eating. I could just pick up his food and he'll follow me. As you can see, he gets a little bit excited, but all in all, he's very good. So I left him in there to eat, and I actually forgot to do something quite important, but that will come to light in a second. After Marley's out, then I start getting his stable ready to muck out. Normally start pulling out the rugs that he's pulled down, so these two, and then I take out all of the feed things, so his feed bowls, his water and his treat bowl, which I've got here. I take his bowl, bucket down to the bottom, empty out the old water and then fill it up from scratch. While that's filling up, I start mucking out, and at the moment Marley and Candy are both on the lovely bed down essential shavings, so mucking out doesn't take me too long. It's actually fairly easy, but Marley can be a little bit messy sometimes, and today was no different. He had a bit of a party in the stable, so here I am just very quickly mucking him out. So a little chat about the bed down. So I'm a brand ambassador for bed down bedding, and I absolutely love this bedding. I'm currently on the essential shavings, which is a great money saver for those of you who are being hit by the cost of living right now. It is an absolute help. Obviously I'm currently a PA, so I get my bedding gifted, but even with that I worked out the pricing, and honestly this is definitely the bedding for me. Anyway, enough about the bedding. I'm looking at here, and as you can see, it's really easy to just sift through it all. Honestly, I could say so many good things about this bedding, but before I tuck into that, I decided to go and just check on Marley because, well, it got a little bit quiet in the pen, and I thought, something must be going on, and sure enough, I soon realised what I'd done wrong. So this pen backs onto a field, and, well, you guessed it, Marley was in that field, which is not his field, nor is it a field he's meant to be in, but I'd forgotten to shut the gate when I put him in there, so I had to go and get him out, and for some reason he was really quite fresh. I don't know why, he must have heard something that kind of spooked him. He is quite good and he came over, but for some reason I couldn't get him out, so normally I'll just lean him by his rug or whatever, but every time I tried to get into the gate he just started bucking in my hand, and I thought, okay, it's safer to go and get a head collar, so I went and grabbed his head collar, got some treats, and again, he's really good to bring in anyway. He just came over, especially because I had food. Once I had him and he was a bit calmer, I put his head collar on and I let him out and made sure I shut the gate this time. With Marley contained, it was back to mucking out, so here I am just doing the last little bit, and once it's all done I just take my wheelbarrow out. Now because I've got both of them to do, I thought it would be a good idea to just leave Marley's bed up and then go straight down and muck out Candy's. Here I am just taking my wheelbarrow down to her stable, grabbing Candy out of her stable and popping her into Marley's while the bed is still up, just because Marley is a little bit quieter and I know he'll be fine staying in the pen, whereas Candy can get a little bit stressed sometimes, and she does weave if she's in that pen for too long, so it's better to have her in the stable. Anyway, now that I'm back in Candy's stable, I do the same again, so I take out all the feed things first, feed buckets and treat bowl, and then I tip out her water and fill it back up. Once the water is out and filling, then I start mucking out. Candy, of course, is also on the bed down essential shavings, but Candy's a lot tidier than Marley. She has what I call stable manners. She poos in one place, she pees in the same place, so mucking out for me with her is really easy, unless she's had an eventful night, but thankfully she was much cleaner than Marley, so her mucking out didn't take too long at all. Once they're both mucked out, I take my wheelbarrow down, and as you can see, I do manage to get them both mucked out into the same wheelbarrow. Honestly guys, bed down has changed my life. I muck out so much faster. Anyway, so I usually put the hay nets in the hay barn, but I completely forgot, so I brought them all the way down to my keep. I just make sure I throw my muck up to keep the muck keep nice and tidy, and then I took my hay nets back to the top. I made my way back up to the top of the yard, and as you can see our yard is pretty long, so these things take a bit of time walking up and down the yard, but Once I'm back at the top, I took Candy out, and because I'm going to be going away to ride my friend's horse out on a hack, I was going to ride Candy first and come back and do Marley. So here I'm just finishing off her stable, sweeping it back, then I take her rug off. Now because I'm going down to exercise her, I didn't rug her up straight away, but to save me walking all the way back up the yard, I do put my rug over her just so that when I'm finished with her at the bottom, I can rug her straight back up and take her down. So here I'm just taking her stable rug off and hanging it up, and you'll notice that she is tied up inside her stable because the tie ring for Candy's stable is between her stable and Petal's, Petal being her mortal enemy. So I can't tie Candy up outside that stable at all because they literally just fight each other over the door, so there's just no point. So I've actually put a bit of baling twine in her stable so that when I just tie her up, I can just tie her up to the ring in her stable and she just stands outside, which is pretty good at. So anyway, it's quite warm today, so it was a lightweight kind of day, and you can just see Candy being a little bit silly and throwing her head up and down. So I don't know why she does this, but Candy absolutely hates having rugs put on her. I have no idea. I'm going to get a massage out for her and just see, but it's just one of her little habits. She just really doesn't like being rugged up. If she's distracted or she's treats or she's got a ball or something, then she's absolutely fine. So I know it's not like pain related, because surely she wouldn't just eat through pain, but she is a funny little sausage. Anyway, once Candy's all rugged up, we are pretty much ready to go. So here I'm just getting Marley out. Sorry guys, I moved the camera before I got him out, but I'm just moving Marley back into the stable out of the pen because one, I did kind of forget he was in there because he was so quiet, and two, if I do leave him in there, he just starts climbing the banks and gets burrs all over himself. So I thought, let me just get him out of here while I can. Anyway, so I'm heading down with Candy, tipping out the last little bit from my wheelbarrow. Like I said, today Marley was quite dirty, so normally it takes me one wheelbarrow, but obviously had a little bit left. And Candy's pretty good, I just leave her to the muck heap and then take her away. I tie her up on the yard just to get ready because our tuck room is at the bottom. And on this particular day, I was actually going to lunge her rather than ride her, just because it's a little bit quicker to get her done and out. And of course, I wasn't really feeling like riding 3 horses in one day, so I lunged Candy, and before I got her ready to go, I just made sure Marley was out. So I didn't want him to be in the stable any longer than he has to be. So rather than working her first and putting them both out, I wanted to get him out as soon as I could. So I head back up to the yard to get him ready, and I noticed that he'd already been in the burr bush. So here I'm just getting all the birds out of his mane, and they were absolutely everywhere, guys. Look at his forelock, and you can just see them all in the brush here. After brushing them out, they were just grim. They were everywhere, in his feathers and everything. So once they were all out, then I took his rug off, popped on his Mare Island Wicklow today, which has a detachable neck and is really useful for weather like today. At the minute, well, at this time, it was changing weather, so it was raining halfway through the day. It was dry most of the day, so it's just one of those days where you don't know what to put on, and the Wicklow is great for that because I find that it's just really useful not knowing exactly what to put on him. I popped him out, and then Marley did his absolute favourite thing, which is rolling in the hay. Again, another quirk of Marley's. I have no idea why he does this. He doesn't even just do it in the field, he does it everywhere. If there's hay in his stable, when he comes in, he'll rub on his hay nets. He's just a quirky little thing, but here he is he's really giving it a good go today as well. He really liked it. Once he's done rubbing in the hay, then he head over to his friend Chester, and they actually shared hay, which is quite good because Marley can be a little bit dominant sometimes, so can Chester, so the fact that they're sharing is actually really, really good. So I just thought I'd get some cute videos of him out in the field, and you can see a bit better his lovely Mare Island rug with the elasticated neck to stop him from slipping down, which is honestly a lifesaver when he rolls absolutely everywhere. Again, I was being a little bit helpful, and I thought I'd just grab in a riding school horse for the yard while I was out in the geldings field. So here I am, just swapping a welshie for a welshie and grabbing in the lovely Hugo for his lessons for the day. Once back on the yard, I started getting Candy ready to lunge. So today I thought we'd just do a little bit of lunging rather than riding and working a bit on her balance. So Candy is a bit bad on the right rein, same as Marley. She gets a little bit unbalanced, so we thought we'd do some lunging and work on her bend on that rein. I was put up some little trotting poles as well, which you'll see in a second. Now, like I said, because the weather was a bit bad, it was getting wet, it was a bit cold and miserable, I did put an exercise sheet on Candy today. Now, I haven't got a saddle, and it is one that goes on a saddle to ride on a exercise sheet, so it has got a hole cut out for the saddle, which obviously I didn't have on, so I just put a roller on to keep it a bit more secure, picked her feet out, and Candy's quite easy to do because, well, She's got really shallow hind feet, so I haven't really got to pick those out. I just kind of give them a little brush if I need to. And then she's all ready to go. Once we head into the arena, I just warmed her up quickly on just a quick lunge before doing the poles. So we had a little walk and a trot, and I didn't canter her straight away just because Candy, now that she's going back into work, does like her cantering, and she can get a little bit fresh and strong, especially after that first canter. So I like to work her in first in walk and trot, do what I need to do, i.e. the poles today, and then do a canter bit towards the end. I also had side reins on her just to work on her contact in canter as well, which is why, again, I didn't do the canter until very last when the side reins were on. Once she was warmed up, I started doing the poles. I didn't really record the other rein, I don't really know why, I just forgot. But she was a bit naughty to begin with, and that she kept running out and trying to avoid the poles. But once I got her going and actually started working and pushing her over them, then she did them really nicely. So here you can see just a little example of her running out and being a bit silly. And it just comes from me just not really like extending the circle enough and pushing her out enough so you can just slip in. Anyway, after the poles were done, I thought she did quite well. We then started working in canter, so I brought her in, put the side reins on, then we started doing a bit of work in canter. And just getting a bit better working in the side reins. She is starting to stretch down a little bit more. Maybe not as on the contact as I'd like her to be, but these things will take time. So like I say, a little bit of progress is still progress. Here I am just cantering the other way, so left rein, and the side reins are definitely doing their job because normally she gets quite forward and strong, but you can see she's really keeping a nice rhythm and maintaining that contact a little bit better, which is what I wanted to see. Once she's all done, I've just got to make sure I clean up the arena. Obviously we're a livery yard and you've got to make sure you tidy up after yourselves. So I'm just going around picking up any poo she might have done. She normally follows me, but she thought she'd go for a little wander, but she does wander back. She is very good in terms of this. Marley I probably wouldn't trust to leave on his own like this because he does wander off and eat around the arena, but Candy's quite good. Anyway, once the poos are all picked up, then I pop the poles away. I just make sure I empty out my poo skip, and then I grab Candy and we head on out. That's Candy all done for the day, so it's just time to put her rug on and get her ready and out. So here I am just putting on her lightweight, and again, as you can see, she's being a little bit grumpy, being a little bit fussy. If anyone has any idea why she might do this, please tell me in the comments, because I don't think it's pain related. I always try and manipulate her back and to see how her back's feeling, and she's absolutely fine. So the pad she's fine with is literally just rugs, stable rugs, turnout rugs, doesn't matter which kind of rug it is, it's just rugs. Anyhow, getting her ready, just putting her neck up. She's in just a lightweight at the minute because it is obviously a little bit colder, but Marley's clipped and she is not, so I haven't put her in anything heavier. And she is actually quite fluffy. She looks really fine, but she is quite fluffy for what she is, so she is actually fine in a lightweight. Then I popped Candy out, and for the first time ever I tried to record when she goes out, because every single time she goes out she will canter or flat out gallop across that field. She gets so excited going out. So I actually managed to catch a little bit of it here, and here she throws in a little buck, which is nice to see considering when I bought her I was told she hated going out, so it's really nice to see her excited to go. When they're out, then I just pop their waters back into their stables and just finish off their stables. So here I am just popping Marley's water in, and he is at the very other end of the yard, so he takes a little bit longer, but yeah, just a quick drag and then it's away. And once the stable's done, then I go over and do their feeds. So at the minute their feeds have changed. I'm going to do a video on what I feed them at the moment, but we'll get into that in a minute. I've been really prepared, and because I was away for a few days before this, I'd actually made up a bunch of feeds in advance. I'm actually just grabbing those out of my storage area, emptying them into their feed bowls, and then they are done. And I have to say, this is such an easy and efficient way of doing feeds. It's not how I normally do it, like I said. It's just because I wasn't around for a couple of days. It meant that their feeds were already ready for whoever was feeding them, but it's made feed time so much quicker. I mean, look how quickly I'm doing this. I'm literally opening a tub and putting it in. And Candy gets supplements in her feed, but all her supplements are in there already, so it's just super quick and easy. Once their feed's done, I started topping up their feed balls or their treat balls, and all they really get in these are pony nuts, and I do chuck in a little extra treats into Candy's because Candy doesn't really like using her balls, so I thought a nice treat would just kind of entice her a little bit more. Once all that's done, then I tuck their balls into their stables and they are ready for the day. As I mentioned, I'm going over to a friend's to go and do some hacking with her and her horses, so I've got to take my hat and boots over there, but I've recently redone my hair, which means my hat size has also changed, so here I am in the tack room just getting myself ready. I've just got all my hats out and I'm just trying them on to see which one still fits. Any of them that don't fit won't fit until I redo my hair, so I put the ones that don't fit right at the back of my shelf because I'm not going to use them as often, and the ones that do fit I keep a bit closer. And thankfully my favourite hat, my Charles Owen YR8, did still fit, so that's the one I decided to take with me. And today I was using my backpack from Red Gorilla, which is so handy to use for going away and riding away from home. Everything fits in there, my hat goes really nicely in the helmet pocket on the front. I'm also taking my boots and just some high vis in case my friend hasn't got a spare high vis for me to use. With myself packed up and ready to go, I head over to Epsom, home of ups and downs, and it was so cool to drive around this place, see the racecourse, see the downs, see all the areas that you can gallop on, and just see horse riding signs on the roads, because being in London, that's just something you don't really see. We soon arrived at the yard, and here I am with my friend Dominique, who you guys may know from the All-Star Academy this year, and her mares Lucy and the lovely Stella. I actually met Dom at my cool ridings training earlier in the year and was really surprised to learn that she actually was based not too far from me at all. So she really kindly invited me to come hacking with her today, and I'm really excited to go out on a proper hack for the first time in, well, 3 years since I moved to London, because oh my goodness, I just haven't been on a hack in so long. So here I'm just getting Lucy ready, and despite living out, look how clean and shiny this horse is. I was so jealous that these horses are turned out and living out, and unlike my very muddy grey mare, Lucy looked stunning. We started tacking up, so here's Dom just tacking up the lovely Stella, and here's Lucy all ready to go. She's so cute and I couldn't wait to ride her. I'd heard some really good things about her, so I was keen to see how she was under saddle. Once the girls were ready, it was soon time to get going. So here is the lovely Lucy who I am riding, and here is Stella, Dom's main competition mare, who she'll be taking. Isn't she just gorgeous? With everyone ready to go, we head out on our hack, and well, just look at the stunning scenery. It was such a beautiful ride. How amazing was that? Being based in London, you just forget how much fun it can be to have a blast around the countryside and just go for a good gallop down the fields. Honestly, I've missed hacking so much. So huge thank you to Dominique for inviting me. Lucy was absolutely incredible. So throughout the hack, we were actually in the saddle for almost 3 hours and we covered 10 miles. It was just an amazing long hack and I had such a great time. But my day didn't end there. By the time I got back, it was pretty dark, but I still had one more horse to ride, and that of course was my lovely Marley. I decided to be a little bit lazy. Being in the saddle for almost 3 hours does have an effect on you, especially when you're not used to riding as long as that like me. So I thought, let's just ditch the saddle and have a little bareback ride. I actually did some bareback jumping with him. He was a little bit fresh, I won't lie, but all in all he was really good. I didn't film all that much because obviously it was quite dark, but I did get some little bits of us warming up, having a little canter, and there's a little clip of us having a little jump as well. Now Marley was really good, but I will admit that I did actually fall off him on this ride. Sadly, we were going into the jump and a bike came out of nowhere up the lane and he just had a really massive spook, and with that saddle I did fall off, but I'm absolutely fine, don't worry. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you stay tuned for the next one, and I can't wait to see you guys soon. Bye!